You ever notice how some people will happily spend hours researching a new phone, comparing cameras, batteries, colors, but the moment the conversation turns to money, real money, how it works, where it goes, they suddenly get busy. They change the subject. They joke. They say, "I'm just bad with numbers," like it's a personality trait, not a skill. Maybe that person is someone you know. Maybe it's you. You pay bills, you earn, you spend, you worry. But learning how money actually works, that feels oddly uncomfortable, heavy, boring, even threatening. And that avoidance isn't laziness, it isn't stupidity. There's a psychology behind it, quiet, emotional, and surprisingly human. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Let's talk about the kinds of minds that avoid learning how money works and why. There's a certain type of person who treats money like background noise. It's there, always humming, always slightly stressful, but never something to look at directly. Picture someone who checks their bank balance the way you'd check bad news, quickly, with one eye closed, hoping it won't hurt. They don't track spending, they don't plan far ahead, not because they don't care, but because caring feels overwhelming. For this person, money represents uncertainty. Numbers feel final, cold, unforgiving. Once you know exactly where you stand, you can't pretend anymore. So the mind protects itself by staying vague. If you don't fully understand your finances, you can still hope things will somehow work out. Ambiguity becomes a strange form of comfort. If this sounds familiar, ask yourself, do you avoid learning about money because you're irresponsible or because clarity feels emotionally risky? Then there's another profile, the competent one, the reliable one, the person who works hard, shows up early, gets praised for being dependable. From the outside, they look financially good, stable job, consistent income, but when it comes to learning how money systems work, investing, taxes, long-term strategy, they quietly opt out. Why? Because deep down, they believe effort should be enough. They were taught that if you work hard, follow the rules, and don't make trouble, things will sort themselves out. Learning how money actually works feels almost suspicious, like gaming the system, like stepping out of line. So they stay loyal to jobs that don't scale, loyal to paychecks that barely move, loyal to the idea that morality and money should never mix. And the irony? This avoidance often comes from a strong sense of identity. I'm not that kind of person, not greedy, not obsessed, not calculating. But here's the quiet question underneath. Are you avoiding money knowledge because it conflicts with who you think you're supposed to be? Then there's the anxious thinker. This person knows they should learn how money works. They've watched videos, read articles, saved posts, maybe even started a spreadsheet once. But every time they try to go deeper, their mind fills with noise. What if I mess up? What if I realize I've wasted years? What if I make the wrong choice? So instead of learning slowly, imperfectly, they freeze. They wait for the right time to understand money, a time when they feel smarter, calmer, more confident. That time never comes. For them, avoiding money knowledge isn't denial, it's fear of irreversible mistakes. Money feels permanent, choices feel heavy, and not choosing feels safer than choosing badly. If this is you, notice something subtle. The fear isn't really about money, it's about self-trust, about believing you're allowed to learn by being wrong. Another type is quieter, more emotional. This person links money with pain, arguments at home, stress growing up, parents fighting over bills, or long periods of scarcity. Money, to them, isn't neutral, it's charged. So learning how money works feels like reopening an old room they'd rather keep closed. Numbers aren't just numbers, they carry memories, shame, comparison, a feeling of never having enough. They might even say things like, "Money isn't everything," or "I don't care about that stuff." And sometimes that's true, but sometimes it's armor, a way to protect their inner life from something that once hurt them. Avoidance here isn't ignorance, it's self-preservation. And then there's the most modern profile of all, the distracted avoider. This person isn't scared of money, they're just constantly elsewhere. Notifications, content, work messages, entertainment. Life feels full, loud, fast. Learning how money works requires stillness, attention, boredom even. So it keeps getting postponed, not rejected, postponed. Later, next month, when things slow down. But things never slow down. This type often feels busy but strangely stuck. They're consuming information constantly, yet avoiding the one subject that could quietly change their trajectory. If you're honest, is it really that you don't have time to learn about money, or that it doesn't offer immediate emotional reward? Here's the twist in all of this. Avoiding how money works is rarely about intelligence. It's about identity, emotion, and comfort. Money knowledge forces reflection. It asks uncomfortable questions. Where am I really going? What do I really value? What have I been avoiding? And that's why so many people stay just informed enough to survive, but not enough to feel in control. So pause for a second. Which of these felt uncomfortably familiar? The avoider of clarity? The loyal hard worker? The anxious overthinker? The emotionally guarded? The endlessly distracted? Maybe it's one. Maybe it's a mix. And here's a final thought to sit with. Learning how money works doesn't turn you into someone else. It doesn't erase your values. It doesn't make you cold or greedy. Often, it simply reveals what was already there and gives you a little more room to breathe. If this landed somewhere quietly personal, you're not alone. And if you want more explorations like this, calm, human, a little uncomfortable in the right way, you know where to find them. So tell me, silently or out loud, which type are you?